I'm about to go into surgery. I'm feeling really nervous. They're gonna remove eggs from my body. You know, the kind that can meet up with sperm to make a baby. And depending on how it goes, once the doctors remove those human eggs, they might freeze them.
Egg freezing.
Egg freezing is booming.
Freezing their eggs until they decide the time is right.
How and when people are having kids is changing, but our bodies aren't. As we get older, it can get harder to have kids when we want to. So, smart people figured out that it's possible to remove eggs, freeze them, and then unfreeze them later. They can even mix the eggs with sperm to make embryos and then freeze those. Basically, humans invented cryosleep just for tiny balls of cells. This is a level of control over reproduction that no other species has ever had before. But there are real concerns about whether all this is worth it. Because let me tell you, the process is not easy. I've been injecting myself with medication for weeks. And at the same time, I've been doing research and talking to doctors and learning as much as I can about this cutting edge of fertility tech. So, in this video, I'm gonna take you behind the scenes into my own process to answer 3 big questions. Why do this? How does egg freezing actually work? And what's the future here? How could this be huge if true? Okay, now I actually have to go have surgery. Let's do this. All right, I am about to do my first injection.
And simply pull back on the plunger.
Hang on a sec. This is gonna be one of our most intense episodes yet. But first, you need to know why we're talking about egg freezing. 30 years ago, the average age of a first-time mom in the US was 20 to 29. Now, it's shifted, 25 to 34, with the most common age now for the first time, 30 years old. More women are going to school and prioritizing a career and choosing to have kids later, and I'm in that group. But one thing on my mind is, as I get older, it can get harder to have kids. Just maybe not for the reasons you think. Turns out, your high school sex ed might have skipped a lot of stuff. You might have seen a diagram like this, and you might remember the basic ingredients to make a baby are egg, sperm, and roughly 9 months inside a uterus. But seeing it like this can give you a much better sense of what's really going on. First of all, see that right there? Those aren't attached. So when an egg is released from an ovary every month, a fallopian tube can actually move to pick it up. In some cases, an egg from the right ovary can be picked up by the left fallopian tube. Then the egg hangs out in the tube for 12 to 24 hours waiting to see if any sperm will come by. And if it does, then these tiny little things have to meet inside this comparably huge tube, form an embryo, travel together into the uterus, and begin to grow. Bodies are wild. All of that has to go right in order to get pregnant. And it can be a lot harder than sex ed made it seem. There are lots of challenges with both sperm and uterus, but for the purposes of this video, we're focusing on eggs. You might have learned that women are born with all of the eggs they're ever gonna have, roughly 1 million. But around 10,000 die every month during childhood. So most of us hit puberty with around 300,000 eggs. Then each month we release 1, while another 1,000 die. So over time there's this big decline in quantity of eggs, and it can be a big fertility issue. But I always thought it was the big fertility issue. And that's not true. When this whole cycle of ovulation stops at menopause, most women still have around 1,000 eggs left. But it's not just about how many eggs you have. It's also about how many of those eggs have 23 chromosomes. They call this egg quality, which has nothing to do with how tall or smart or quality a kid would be. It's a binary measure, 23 chromosomes or not. When you think of someone who has a different number of chromosomes, you might be thinking of someone with Down syndrome, but that's the rare condition where an embryo survives. Most of the time, not having 23 chromosomes in an egg means that embryo never implants or grows. The problem is you only release 1 egg every month, and as you get older, the chances that that egg doesn't have 23 chromosomes goes up, so it can be harder to get and stay pregnant. But hang on, if I'm born with all the eggs I'm ever gonna have, like they're all already in there, why would chromosomal abnormalities go up over time? Is it that my body is secretly prioritizing the ones with 23 chromosomes first? Is it that they change somehow over time in my ovaries? Or is something else going on? Time to talk to a doctor. This is my real doctor, Dr. Pfeiffer. She's a reproductive endocrinologist and a surgeon. She's an expert in fertility. She's actually operated on me before. A couple years ago, I needed a surgery on my left ovary. I'm totally fine, but she's seen my insides. We're close. But the point is, I really trust her. She explained what's happening to my eggs. It's not that I'm secretly prioritizing the ones with 23 chromosomes. It's not that they all change slowly inside my ovaries.
When the egg prepares to be fertilized, it duplicates the DNA and then divides it in half. And a younger egg is more likely to have those 46 chromosomes divide into 23 equal halves. An older egg may not do that as effectively.
And that can make it harder to get pregnant. Okay, but how much harder, really? Like, what if I want to have kids later in life? This is where I started to feel like the numbers were getting a little scary.
The reality is that a woman's fertility starts to decline in the early to mid-30s. And everyone says, oh, after 35 it declines. It really starts to decline a little bit before then. Not significantly, but the start is then.
The best data that we have shows that rates of miscarriage do go up with age, and the odds of getting pregnant each month go down. But what really shocked me was the data about eggs.
Rule of thumb is a woman who is 32, we expect approximately 80% to be chromosomally normal. A woman who is 42, we expect 20% to be chromosomally normal. It's a big difference.
During this conversation, I could feel myself getting more and more uncomfortable. I really don't want to think about this. In fact, I feel like I've been taught my whole life not to think about this. Like, sex ed was all about how not to get pregnant. And then at a certain point in your life, it turns and people are like, you have to get pregnant right now, otherwise you won't be able to later. And it's really hard and it's really scary. And I feel both really frustrated by people who say, fertility falls off a huge cliff and you can't get pregnant after this. That's not true. I know many people who have gotten pregnant later in life and had the lives that they want and been very happy. And at the same time, I'm really frustrated by people who pretend like this data isn't real. And it has a huge impact on how I plan my life that I want to live. I have so many things that I want. So just to be very clear, the real answer to what if I wanted to wait is I totally could. And I also could become one of the many people who struggle to have kids when they want to. I know lots of people who have gone through that as well. And I'm just really scared of that. I'm really worried about that. I know that people are gonna debate this choice in the comments, and I feel like it's worth it to put this video out even knowing that that's gonna happen. This is my personal story. I'm not in any way trying to advise other people on what they should do. I'm trying to give information that I wish I'd had. What's even more frustrating is that right now, there's no great way for me to figure out exactly where I fall on these charts today, or how that might change. There's no full body scan that's gonna tell me exactly what my egg quantity and quality are right now. So my options boil down to 1, try to get pregnant now, 2, wait and see what my odds are, or 3, try to change my odds using technology. You know the part in the movie where someone gets frozen and then wakes up exactly the same 100 years later? In sci-fi, that's cryosleep. But in real life, that's basically egg and embryo freezing, pausing them in time to bring them back later. But I've been wondering, why them and not me? Like, if we can cryofreeze eggs and embryos, why can't we cryofreeze adult people? Answering that question is a good way to explain how this tech actually works. The key is water. Our bodies are filled with water, but when water freezes, it expands and forms sharp crystals. If we froze you right now, those ice crystals inside you would shred you to bits from the inside. To freeze you without shredding you, we need to replace most of that water with a special antifreeze and cool you down quickly and evenly so that that antifreeze mixture solidifies in a process called vitrification, effectively pausing your body in time. But unfortunately, we're the wrong shape. Our surface area is too small compared to our volume. You'd either end up full of warm, toxic antifreeze or frozen, deadly crystals. The math for us just doesn't work yet. But for eggs and embryos, it does. Their surface area to volume ratio is very high, so medical experts can vitrify them fast enough. No crystals, no shredding. It's a crazy achievement that we can do this, and we're getting better at it. Researchers are working on vitrifying whole organs, which could, in the future, make organ transplants easier and save a lot of lives. And one day, maybe even vitrify a whole person. Who knows? Huge if true. This process only became possible for eggs in the 1980s and was ruled not experimental in 2012. But before you freeze any eggs, you first have to get a lot of them out of a person, which is not that easy for the person. To get my ovaries to make enough eggs to actually freeze, I first need to tell them, hey, instead of just getting 1 egg ready this month, I need you to prepare as many as possible. And the only way to tell them that is to inject myself with hormones. So, over the next 8 to 14 days, I'm gonna be taking these. This box has all of my meds in it. It's big, big box. Let's see what we got. But hang on, first you gotta see something. This is my privacy dashboard. This shows me how many data brokers I've gotten myself removed from, or rather Incogni has gotten me removed from. I haven't done anything except sign up. So why do this? What are data brokers and why do I wanna get myself removed from them? They make money buying and selling your information. And with enough data points, these brokers can form a picture of you. They call it a shadow profile that others can then use in ways that you might not want, like assessing you for insurance or banking or healthcare, stuff like that. But Incogni can force many of them to remove you. They reach out to these data brokers on my behalf and say, hey, remove this person. And then crucially, they follow up to make sure that I actually got removed. So I can see that right here. Here are the requests they've sent, the ones in progress, and the ones that they've completed on my behalf. If you'd like to try this out, go to the link in my description or go to incogni.com/CleoAbram. Now back to the story. We're about to get eggs out of my body. Oh, jeez. Little help. Okay. Med 1, Med 2, Med 3, Med 4. There are basically 2 categories of medications that I'm gonna be taking. One is gonna tell my ovaries, hey, get as many eggs ready as possible. The other is gonna say, but hold on, don't release those eggs because we're gonna come get them. So that's what these do to varying degrees. And these look like they are all syringes. Never used one of those before. Yeah. So this is at least 2 injections every single day for the next 8 to 14 days. I've never injected myself with anything before. We can do this. I can do this. This is fine. Cool. These hormones, these injections, the timeline, it's all exactly the same as another process that you might have heard of, IVF, in vitro fertilization. That process helps people get pregnant by taking eggs out, fertilizing them, and then putting embryos back in. I'm gonna be doing the same exact taking out part, just not the putting back in part yet. Okay, here we go. All right, I am about to do my first injection. I have this little video.
Be sure to have all of the following items before you begin.
Getting all the meds ready is surprisingly complicated.
Invert the vial and simply pull back on the plunger. Gently rotate the vial between your fingers. Do not shake.
I really feel like I'm Breaking Bad over here.
And gently tap on the syringe.
I felt confused this entire time, but eventually.
Hold the pen at a 90-degree angle and insert the needle into your skin.
Okay. I did it. I feel so completely out of my element. All the research in the world didn't prepare me for looking at a needle and then putting it into my stomach. Okay, so far so good. Next one. And then I release the skin and then I push the plunger in. Ow! Ow! Oh God. We're good. That one just hurt more. Not the actual needle, weirdly. The medication itself going in hurt. That's fine. It wasn't, I was surprised, but it wasn't that big a deal. But day by day, it got easier. On the first day, this process felt really overwhelming. I was scared I was gonna get something wrong. I just didn't know how to do anything. It felt scary. Now, on day 3, I find it really fascinating. Like, I think it's amazing that we know how to do this. We know how to give our bodies certain hormones to get it to do the things we want. Anyone who likes biohacking should think that egg freezing is just totally awesome. Complicated, tricky, different for everybody, but really fundamentally cool. But at the same time, going through this process made it very clear to me that as it exists right now, egg and embryo freezing have some big issues. First, the process takes a lot of time and mental energy. Planning when to do it and not remembering that it has to be not just a 2-week period of injections and then ordering the meds and then making sure that things can be covered by insurance. Right from which pharmacy, my doctor. Like, it's just the mental load of doing this is hard. It's hard. I really want to do this, but it's not feeling super easy. I'm a real tough kid. I can handle nothing. They said bake it till you make it. I said, they said, you gotta fake it till you make it, and I did. The second issue is this process takes a physical toll on your body. Day 8. I'm definitely feeling some symptoms. My boobs, ow. My abdomen, ow. But it's okay. These hormone shots often give people symptoms like bloating and mood swings and headaches, and sometimes more serious side effects like ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, where your ovaries respond too strongly and build up fluid, which can be dangerous. To try to avoid that, I have to go into my doctor's office every other day to draw blood and check my hormone levels. If they get too high, they'll change the doses of the meds that I'm taking.
I'm a tough kid. I can handle mash.
The third big issue is cost. Depending on your personal medical history and where you live and what insurance you might have, egg or embryo freezing can range from fully covered all the way up to tens of thousands of dollars. That is a huge problem, particularly paired with the final issue. It's not guaranteed that this will even work. The math today is pretty brutal.
So I think it's helpful to walk through the math. The average number of eggs we get at retrieval for everybody is about 10. We like to get 20. The majority of people will need more than one cycle to accumulate 20 eggs.
Then some get damaged as you freeze and thaw them.
85 to 90% survive, so we're down to say 17.
Then some won't successfully get fertilized.
The average fertilization rate is 75%, so the average we expect to have 14 embryos. Well, then we expect half of those 14 to develop. Now we're down to 7. If an individual is 30, 31, we would expect 75, 80% of those to be chromosomally normal. So that's like 5. Each chromosomally normal embryo, we expect to have about a 55 to 60% chance of resulting in a live-born baby.
But 20 eggs isn't some magic number. People are different, and these numbers can change slightly if you fertilize the eggs before freezing them. But the fact remains, this is a lot of work for a very uncertain outcome. I'm constantly afraid that I'm doing all of this, and it's not gonna work.
I've heard it called an insurance policy sometimes. I'm thinking about it more like a hedge. It might help my chances, if and when I want to have a kid.
I hope it works, and it gives me more options and more peace of mind. But most of all, I hope this gets way easier for people in the future. Imagine for a second that it does. In 20 years, egg and embryo freezing is cheaper and simpler and much more reliable. More people can do it, meaning more people can have the kids that they want when they want. How might people's lives really change? How might it help people with medical conditions, or who haven't found the right partner, or who simply want to choose their own timeline for when to have kids? How do you think society would change if all of that comes true?
I can only imagine how much better this tech is going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, my body can't wait that long, but I'm really excited for what this might be for other people.
Now I've done 22 shots total, and I just have one left.
Okay, it is 3:00 a.m., 3:02, and at exactly 3:20, I need to give myself the trigger shot. Up until now, all of the shots that I've been giving myself have been telling my body, make more eggs, but don't release them. But the trigger shot is gonna tell my body, okay, get ready to release those eggs. The egg retrieval surgery has to happen exactly 35 hours after the trigger shot. So my egg retrieval surgery is at whatever that time is on Monday. We're so close to being done. I'm so tired. If I mess this up, it was all for nothing. So I really can't mess this up. There we go. Boom. I did it. Okay, good night. So I'm about to go into surgery. I'm feeling really nervous, but fine. I'm gonna be asleep, but this is a 15-minute procedure. Dr. Pfeiffer's gonna stick me with a big needle and suck out all the eggs that my ovaries have prepared over the last 2 weeks. Here we go.
Hi, I just got out of surgery and I'm feeling fine. I don't know how it went. We're just gonna wait and see.
All right, it's been about a week since the procedure. I'm feeling fine. First couple days were a little rough. You've taken just a ton of hormones, and it's a bit of a journey for your body to come back to normal. But it's also a journey for the eggs now too. They have to go through all of those steps. At the end, they get stuck into tanks like this and stored in a highly secure vault. And then they wait. This process has been deeply personal. But this video isn't about me. It's about all of the lives that could be changed as this tech gets better, as it gets cheaper and easier. For me, for what I was hoping based on my body and my medical history, when I got my results, I felt like it was a success. I felt like it was worth it, but it could have gone differently. And the truth is, I won't know how it's gonna go if I ever wanna use them. This technology as it exists now is still in the early stages. It's hard and it's expensive and it's not guaranteed to work. But right now, what I'm most feeling is grateful to my body for listening to what I was asking through all of those hormones and doing its best. To my doctors for listening to what I wanted from my life and using the available science and tech to help me. For the researchers and scientists who work so hard to make the heartwarming, sometimes heartbreaking math of fertility just a little bit easier every year. And to you, thank you for listening. This has been by far the most personal Huge If True episode yet, and I just really appreciate it. And it's because it's so personal for me that it's so obvious why this is huge if true. The huge part is how this could help people have the families that they want, live the lives that they choose. And the if true part is how far we still have to go. If you like this kind of optimistic science and tech stories, subscribe for our show, Huge If True. It really means a lot. Thank you. And we have so many good episodes coming for you. See you for the next one.
Oh no, I finished my Oreos. I want Oreos. But here's what just happened. Let me explain.